some of you need to go back and learn how to do your long division. And learn what this means. Okay? Now that equals 14. See, this here, I could have put 14 on top if I would have known. But I didn't know yet. We were finding out. Now I know. But 4 doesn't go into 9 4 times. It only goes into it twice. So you could just look at the numbers when you divide. You can look at the number. You can see if your single number goes into the numbers like we did at first. What if you had the expression, let's say we have something like x minus we have x minus 2y minus 5, or x minus the sum of 2y and 5. Sum of 2y and 5 subtracted from x. So you want to evaluate this expression if when x, let's say x equals 2, y equals 3. Okay? So we substitute. For x we get 2, and then we substitute our value for y, which is 3. Substitute in 3 there, plus 5. Okay? Now your order of operations tells you to take care of whatever's in the grouping symbols first. And here we have a multiplication, so we multiply before we add the 5. Okay, so we get 2 times 3, that's 6. And get 2 minus the sum of 6 and 5, which is 11. 2 minus 11. Here you find the difference between 2 and 11, which is how many numbers go in between 2 and 11. Then you give the answer a negative sign, because 11 is greater. Okay? 11 is greater than 2. So what's 11 minus 2? That's 9, or the difference between 11 and 2 is 9. So you get negative 9. And that's your final, that's your value after we found the value after doing our evaluation. So here, this expression equals negative 9 when x equals 2 and y equals 3. Okay? What we're doing is called evaluating the expression. Okay, now we're going to evaluate this expression. Okay, y2. Now this is 2 by the sum of y and 1 divided by 5. Now we're saying if y is 3/8, evaluate this expression if y is 3/8. Okay, now what we do is substitute where we have our y at. Now we're going to get 3/8 plus 1 over 5. Now remember, this is in grouping symbols, so we must deal with this first. Anytime I have 1 plus a fraction, you just look at the denominator and turn that 1 into, you know, make it a fraction where its denominator is 8 and its numerator is 8. See, because 8 divided by 8 is 1. So make that 2 by 3/8 plus 8 over 8. Okay, over 5. Okay. Now that's going to evaluate to 8 Write this over again. Write all this over again. Again. Don't erase. Write it again. That's going to become 8 plus 3 over 8. Right? Or 11/8. 11/8. Now you got 2 times 11/8. Okay, now you get 2 times 11/8. Now 2 times 11/8, that's 2 times 11 over 8. Okay? So you get 22 over 8. I mean, yeah, 22. 2 times 11 is 22. So you get 22 over 8. Divided by 5. Now here, I'm just going to show you, give you the answer. If anytime you have a form of, you got a fraction, and then you're dividing that by a number, that becomes, you put that in this form. Okay? So this drops down. Okay, this 8 drops down. And you multiply it by that, by whatever's by the denominator. Okay? Multiply by whatever's in the denominator. So here, you get, what do you have? You get 22 over 8 times 5. Okay? 22 over 8 times 5. Times 5. Not point, that's times 5. By the way, I don't use x's for multiplication, because they can be mistaken as a variable, the variable x. 8 times 5 is 40. You get 22 40ths. Okay? $22 40ths. And that is your answer. It's your final answer for that. Now I want to do another example, because I want to expand on this to show you that when you drop down a number, you multiply by everything there. Now we're going to do this over again. So we're going to do a different expression. The denominator, I'm going to change it up to, let's say, 5. Say 5 plus x. Okay? And we're going to say y is 3/8. Okay? Now it's the same as we did before. We have to evaluate what's in the expression first. What's in the parentheses first. So we just focus on that first. So y, we just focus on the y plus 1. So we substitute for y, we're getting 3/8. Okay? Now this equals 3/8 plus 8/8. Okay? Which gives you 11/8. 11 over 8. Okay? So you're going to get, you're going to get 2 by 11/8 over 5 plus x. Now that's what we have our expression at this point. Now this becomes, of course, 22 over 8 over 5 plus x. Now remember when I told you in the form, you have if you have a fraction divided by a number, that's going to become, the denominator of the fraction simply drops down into the denominator of the whole.